Hey everybody, we're ready for Salsa 1. Thanks for watching our other videos. This class we're going to focus on the most popular partner dance in the world, and that's Salsa. Lots of different styles of Salsa out there. What we teach in our basic curriculum is the most popular version, where it's forward and back, breaking on one. We're not going to be using music in this lesson because of copyrights, but feel free to visit us on our website or email us, call us, let us know, and we'll be happy to give you a list of songs that we use to teach to practice, and to go out dancing with.
Hey Nino, I think it's time to get started. Let's go.
All right, let's get started. Okay, before we get to our first partnered pattern, let's do a little bit of footwork. So the basic salsa step, we're going to show you 3 foot patterns before we get partnered. The basic salsa step is what we call the stationary basic. We bring our feet together, and you're always going to come back to this home base. So we start in this one little square. Left foot moves forward, replace your weight on your right, then you bring your feet together. So notice only one foot moves at a time. Our right foot goes back, replace your weight on your left, and then together. So always coming back to home base. These are what we call break steps, where only one foot moves, the other one goes in place. So the basic salsa is a forward break, together, a back break, together. So we go forward, left, right, left, right, left, right. Forward with the left, right, left, back with the right, left, right. That's your stationary basic. The next step is what we call progressive basic. Very similar. We go forward in place, and instead of bringing our feet together, we're going to take a small step back. Now we take our right foot back in place, and then small step forward. So your progressive basic is forward in place, back, back in place, forward. Forward in place, back, back in place, forward. Those are your 2 basic steps. Let's do a turn, and then we'll talk about the timing. The turn that we do is a break step. We have a whole video on just the technique of that, so watch for that, try to find it, and you'll get the technique. But just so you know what it looks like, you're starting forward with your left, replacing your weight on your right while you're turning to your right, complete the turn and change weight. Make sure you change weight on your left, then you have your back in place together to finish. So, small step forward left, replace on the right, bring your feet together, and then step back in place together. Once again, that right foot, when you step forward with your left, the right foot swivels, it stays on that spot. I think of like putting out a cigarette or stepping out above. And then finish the turn, land, and then have your back in place forward. So that's our break step. Once again, the 3 patterns are stationary basic, we have our progressive basic, and then we have our break turn. Now, as far as the timing of that, I'm going to have my wonderful, beautiful assistant, and she's going to do the followers part while I'm doing the leaders. We do the exact same thing. Let's do it backing the camera first. So we do the exact same thing. The only difference is the followers are going to start with their right foot back, and leaders are going to start with your left foot forward. The timing is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So we count to 7. It's over 8 beats. So we're going to hold the 4 and the 8. So one more time, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, hold 4, 5, 6, 7, hold 8. That's our stationary basic. Progressive basic is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Then with our break turn, leaders, you're both going to turn on the forward half. All right, so leaders and followers. Leaders, you're going to go into it on 1. She's going to go into it on 5. So if you watch us, I'm going to go immediately. She's going to do half a basic first. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So just doing the followers part, she's doing 1, 2, 3, then she's turning on the 5, 6, 7. Where leaders, you would go immediately into the 1, 2, 3, then 5, 6, 7. Okay, our first partnered pattern, we're going to start actually with a double hand hold. So offer your hands out. I like to think of you're holding 2 coffee cups or martinis, depending on what time of the day you're watching this video. And then the followers dip their fingers in. Keep the hands down low. Whenever we're in a double hand hold, you want to make sure that her wrist is at about her elbow height. You don't want to make her beg to dance with you, keep them up. And followers, you don't want to get tense that way either. The arms are relatively loose. You have just light tone, so you can feel the body movement, but you don't want to be stiff. And you definitely don't want to push and pull. So keep it relaxed. Let her feel your body movement. Followers, don't anticipate. Let him lead. our first step is our stationary. We already did the footwork. She's going back on her right. I'm going forward on my left. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Doing it a couple times. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. That's your basic. All right, our next step is the progressive basic. Very similar, double hand hold. She's going back, I'm going forward. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Make sure when you do this that you don't take such big steps. A lot of times people make the mistake of taking big steps on the break. The break step should always be pretty small. So the break steps are small steps. And then the passing step, you could vary that. You can make that passing step, the 3 and the 7 big, or you can make them small. But the break steps, you always want to be small and controlled.
And followers, for us, the size of our step is really dictated by the leader. So try not to step too big. Try to follow the size step of the leader.
And then remember that break step, both of those break steps, you actually want to push in the floor and change weight, but you don't want to take your body all the way over that foot. So you don't want to go 1. That throws your weight and takes too much time. You're going to end up being behind the beat. So it's really just what we call a break step, which means only about half of your weight gets there, or half of your center goes over that foot. So it's like I step and come back together. So like I'm pushing buttons, right? So I'm going to push a button on the floor, I'm going to push a button on the floor, and then replace. That's your progressive basic.
Our next pattern is the followers right break turn. All right, so we're going to start from our 2-hand hold. We're going to take half of our basic. We're going to take our 1, 2, 3. And as you notice on 3, the leader raises the left hand slightly. He's going to let go of his right hand. Followers, we're going to come forward on 5, turning 6, and then we bring our feet together, 7.
Okay, leaders, for your part for the right break turn, you got to make sure that you're doing it comfortably for her. So as we take the 1, 2, as I'm going into the 3, I take my left hand up, straight up, and I think of giving her a high five or a patty cake. Right? So at this point, that's on 3, but don't lead her just yet. Allow her to come forward. So as I'm going back on 5, that's when I initiate the turn, and it's a clockwise turn over her head, and then let gravity take it down. You don't want to turn her too fast or too early, because that's going to make her uncomfortable. So as we take the 1, 2, 3, allow her to come forward and then just invite her to go over under your hand and finish that turn. Bring that hand down. Now notice you're going to be in an opposite hand hold. Don't be too worried about it. Just do your basic and flip the hand again. So all the way through it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, basic 1, 2, 3. Now later in the video we're going to give you a little bit more of a stylish prep called the pumping up. Get this down first, and then watch for that coming in a little bit. Okay, our next pattern. Leaders, it's time for you to do a turn. So it's called a backhand change. Let me demonstrate it for you first. You're going to take your 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So leaders, on 1, you're going to step towards her. We're going to start with open position. So our right hand we already let go of. So on 1, we're going to go towards her, and we're going to start turning to our right. That break turn we did during the warm-up. I pass her hand behind my back on 2, and then with keeping my right hand on hers, I turn and look at her on 3. Then for now, during the 5, 6, 7, just switch hands again. 5, 6, 7.
Followers, for us, while the leaders are turning, we're just doing our basic and trying not to laugh.
So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. All right, so now let's go ahead and combine these two. So a nice little combination is taking the leader's turn right into the follower's turn. So once again, both turns are the same. They're both right break turns. They're just on the different portion of the basic. So they look different, but they're the same. So I'm going to go on the 1, 2, 3. Now instead of switching hands, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to make that clockwise turn, the same clockwise turn on the 5, 6, 7. If I did it correctly, I should be in a handshake position. All right? Celebrate with your partner. Amalgamate. Let's put it together in a little combination. So starting from a double hand hold, we'll start with just a stationary basic. This is great for tight dance spaces, keeping it simple. You don't have much room. So I don't care where you are, in your bathroom, in your living room, wherever. It doesn't matter what space, small space you have.
I hope you're not dancing in the bathroom.
Why not? Then you can have your progressive. When you do your progressive, you're just going to move your body a little bit more. She'll feel that momentum. And then you can go back to the stationary, test it out. Can she feel the difference between the distance of when you're moving? Remember, the break steps are small. It's that step in the middle. That step in the middle, that's where you can change the distance. All right, then we have our turn combination. I like doing a little what I call triple turn combination. I start with her turn, lower this hand. So notice I have to lower this hand so that way I'm 1, 2, 3. On 3, I'm already starting to raise this hand so that way she feels the 5, 6, 7. All the way, let me show you that triple turn combination. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Then from here, just switch hands and do it all over again. So go ahead and try that, put on some music, and then dance it before we get to our next pattern. All right, so now that you've done some of the basic patterns in the double hand hold, it's time to get a little closer to our partners. So we're going to go into closed position. Closed position is very similar to the other dances. Your right hand, leaders, is going to be on her shoulder blade. It's a little bit lower than ballroom, so it's going to be right about at the tip of her shoulder blade, and then your left hand is going to be halfway between you and her.
Followers, I'm making sure I'm engaging my shoulders first, and then just gently resting my hand wherever that might be from my shoulder standpoint. So if I have a leader that's taller than me, I'm definitely not going to be reaching for the shoulder. Okay, so depending on who you're dancing with, if your partner's your height or shorter, your arm may go up higher. But in general, I want to think about my frame, not reaching for my leader.
In ballroom, we are a little bit more formal. In Latin, we're in salsa, especially club style salsa, we're going to be a little bit more casual. So it's going to be a little bit lower, but still doesn't mean lazy. Just having a little bit lower and a little bit more compact. All right, so leader's right hand on the shoulder blade, left hand halfway between you and her. You're going to be square. So in ballroom, we're a little offset, but in salsa, we're shoulder to shoulder parallel. All right, so if you see from this angle, we're going to be even. All right, now let's just apply the patterns you already know to this. So you have your stationary basic, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. You have your progressive, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and you have your break turn. So what we have to do on this is take our 1, 2, and on 3, leaders, you're going to take a slightly bigger step than you expect her to do while you're letting go of your right hand. 3. Your hand's already up, giving her turn 5, 6, 7. Just so you can see it from the other angle, we'll do those 3 in right after each other. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, release. 5, 6, 7, then pick her back up. 5, 6, 7. One other tip, think about making sure that you give her a little heads up. So instead of going 5, 6, 7, 8 and starting, you learn to actually lead her. So we start with a good frame. Some tips that we do, holding, don't be too tense, but have some tone. So if I move my body, she feels it, right? So she feels my body movement. Notice I'm not moving my arms. My arms stay flexible, but there's some tone in them so she can feel when my body starts to go. So that wind-up happens on the 8. So let's say I'm going to go 5, 6, 7, 8. That lets her know we're moving. So before we even start moving, I actually will give her that little bit of a heads up.
Followers, for us, even though we're learning our footwork and we know our part, we always want to be slightly behind the leader so we can react to what they're doing. If we get ahead, the leader doesn't feel like they're in control. So I always make sure, even in my basic, I think I'm waiting for the leader to move, and then I react. I'm waiting for the leader to give me the guide for the turn, and I react. Versus knowing your part, doing your part, doing the part, you know you're turning, you turn yourself. The leaders don't like that much. So we want to refrain from doing that, right?
Yeah, make him earn it. He's got to be able to learn to lead. So the more you fake it for him, the less the leader is going to be able to learn how to do it appropriately. So moving on, this next step actually will become your basic, your thinker pattern, the pattern that you do more than anything else, and to launch into other more advanced patterns. And that's called our cross body lead. So let me demonstrate it for you first. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. The idea of this pattern, the reason we call it a cross body lead is because we lead her across our body. So she gets from that end to that side, and I open up my body to get her there. So 1, 2, 3, I open up a path, she goes through the slot, and then I close it. I open the door, she goes through, and then I close the door. Let's show you your footwork on this. Leaders, what I like to think of is you're still just doing a basic. You're still going forward in place together, back in place together. The only difference, leaders, for your footwork is you're going to actually turn your left shoulder. You're going to be moving your left shoulder back while you're doing that basic step. So if this is my slot, my follower's over here, I'm going to step forward with my left foot. 1. Notice while I'm stepping forward, my left shoulder, I pull it back. 2. I keep pulling my left shoulder back. Bring my feet together. 3. Keep pulling my left shoulder back as I go 5, 6, 7. All the way through for facing this wall, leaders. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. From a different perspective, I'm going to face this way. So now our slot is this way. So our partner's here. I'm going to step forward, turning my left shoulder back. 1, 2, 3. Continue stepping back with my right foot. Left shoulder back. 5, 6, 7. Leader's footwork for the crossbody lead is forward turning in place together, back in place together.
Followers, this is our crossbody lead footwork. I'm going to start with this direction. We're going to do half of the basic, just like normal. We're going to take our 1, 2, 3. I'm going to step forward on 5. I'm on my left foot. I'm going to bring my left shoulder back, keeping my feet in this position, and just do a half turn, landing 6 on my right foot, and stepping back on my left 7. Crossbody lead footwork. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Now for some technique on your crossbody lead. You know your footwork, you know your pattern. What we have to do is make sure that she realizes you're doing a crossbody lead and you want her to stay facing the same direction. So watch this hand. As I take my 1, 2, 3, notice how my body opened up, but yet my frame stayed where it was. The hand will lower, but it won't bring her with. As I take my 1, 2, 3, that lets her know, hey, you're staying in that direction, I just opened up. Now, with the rest of my frame, I'm going to bring her across and then turn her. So you can see without her, what I'm doing with my frame is as I take my 1, 2, 3, I open up, then the whole frame as a unit comes across, and then I rotate to close.
Followers, for us, the way we know to not come forward on 3 is as I'm taking that 1, 2, the leader's pretty much saying with his frame, stay where you are. So that's limiting my step. I'm keeping that step right underneath me. If you break your frame, so meaning 1, 2, you just decide to go, then that's what we want to eliminate. We don't want to come into the frame. We want to keep this nice and connected.
Okay, so now you've learned all the steps that are part of our regular Salsa 1. We're going to give you a bonus move in just a few minutes. But it's time to give you some drills and things to amalgamate. The first thing I would do right off the bat is really practice that crossbody lead over and over again, because that's the most important step you have to be comfortable with before getting into a Salsa 2. Now, a nice little combination that you can do. Let's start with the crossbody lead. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Let's go ahead and let go of her during the crossbody lead. You're going to let go of her on 7. 1, 2, 3. I switch my hand from a Latin hold or a ballroom hold to a swing hold. And we do that on 3. 1, 2, 3. Send her through 5, 6, then let her go between 6 and 7. Now you're facing your partner. Let's go ahead and do that triple turn combination. 1, 2, hand up, giving her a turn 5, 6, 7, lowering the hand. 1, 2, hand up, bring her through 5, 6, 7. Now, to get back in a closed position, you're going to catch the outside of her elbow with your left hand. Then during your basic, do a waterfall, 1, 2, 3, back to her shoulder blade, and then 5, 6, 7. Let's talk about that. After I get, let's say I do my turn, she does her turn. Watch when I pick up her elbow. I block, don't grab, just block the outside of her elbow on 7, and then do the waterfall right after that. The reason we do that is because if you keep the hand up, sometimes she mistakes that as a turn.
Followers, for us to know the difference between a turn and a waterfall is really about following the hand. But if the hand is turned, I have to keep moving with it. Okay? So the leaders are giving me that underarm turn. 1, 2, 3. I'm not turning yet, but now I'm turning to follow the hand. Okay? Whereas when we do a waterfall, the hand goes up, but it's not rotating. So I have to get used to that whole action of it's not a turn, it's a waterfall.
Let's do it this way so you can see. So as we take the 1, 2, 3, when I'm giving her a turn, there's rotation. and that's how she follows. When I give her a waterfall, it's going straight over her head. Now notice, when I do the waterfall, I let it go before it goes over her head. All right, so right about at her forehead, then I let go. And then the rest is follow through. So you don't want to take it all the way to her neck. It's awkward. All right, now, after that, after I give her the waterfall and I let go, I follow through and go to her shoulder blade.
When the leaders do that little toss, I follow through with what I call a hairbrush, and I just kind of finish that motion. So I want to go with the actual flow of the hand. The hand's going back. I'm just going to finish and then offer back to the leader if need be.
And then when you feel the hand on the back, so followers, watch what she does with this arm. So as we take the 1, 2, 3.
I imagine there's a magic button here, and anytime I feel the leader connecting, that's my cue. I have to make sure I bring my arm up and over. Now, how high we do that is very important. So if we're getting that waterfall, I want to bring my arm just enough to clear and go back to my connection. If we go too high,
and she does that on purpose anyways.
not true.
Yeah. Sometimes. So when we do this, the whole combination. All right, so let's just do the triple turn combination first. So we're taking our 1, 2, 3, giving her a turn, 5, 6, 7. Leader's turn, 1, 2, 3, her turn. Now watch when I pick her up. And the reason I do this, even though we spent some time talking about proper technique of turning or waterfall, this kind of is my insurance policy. So that way, just in case she's not, she's getting too anxious or she's ahead of it, she doesn't turn. So the whole thing, we're going to start with a cross-body lead. Then we're going to do a cross-body lead release where we let her go. Then we're going to give her a turn, give ourselves a turn, give her one more turn, pick up her elbow, waterfall, and then go back to our basic. And just do the basic, catch a breath, and then you can do it all over again. Okay, bonus styling in Salsa 1. What I do for a little bit extra styling is we do something called the pumping up as the prep. So on the 1, the left hand goes down, 2, it recoils, and then 3, we're back where we normally are. And then follow through with the 5, 6, 7. So you can see it from both angles. We'll do it here. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit so you can see. I think of this being on a clock. And from the leader's perspective, so the opposite of your perspective right now, it's going to go down to about 7 o'clock, comes back up to about 11 o'clock, and then you give her that turn. All right, so you can see it this way. We're going to do it on a weird angle so you can see. So if this was the clock and it starts right in the middle of the clock, it goes down on the inside. It goes down during 1, comes back up on 2, high 5 on 3, follow through as she comes forward, 5, 6, 7. So all the way through with that styling, it just goes 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
Followers, it's important for us when the leaders are doing that, we have to keep a relaxed arm, okay? I kind of think of the pumping up as a hinge from the elbow, right? So when Nino's letting that hand drop, I have to make sure I relax and hinge and let him take my hand where he wants to take it, okay? Back to the whole thing we talked about before. If I raise my elbow when he's trying to do that, then it's not going to work. So I have to make sure my elbow is still down, nice and relaxed, so I can also follow through nice and smoothly.
It should go with your footwork, right? So as I'm going forward, down the 1, 2, 3. So that's the pumping up. It's a nice little warm wind up. It's optional. Don't confuse it with, a lot of times people see salsa dancers moving their upper bodies and moving their arms during the basic. There's a right and a wrong way to do it. We'll get to that in another video of styling. But right now, I want you to keep things very quiet. All right, very quiet, because a lot of times people do this and it's a little awkward. It's it kind of gives her a wrong signal.
It feels like double dutch.
Yeah, you don't want to end up moving her in the wrong way. So when you do it correctly, we'll talk about this in a future video. But there's a very specific way to do this, and it's always coming from the body, not just the arms. So our whole combination that we've done so far is our crossbody lead. Throw out. If you add the pumping up, you just put it right there. Backhand change, give her a turn, waterfall, back to close, do a basic, and then you could do the whole pattern again. Okay, so a teaser for Salsa 2. Once again, if you're interested, contact us, and we'll tell you how to get access to Salsa 2. This is a really, really important step. This is kind of the jumping step. You need to do this step very, very well because a lot of fancy stuff in salsa comes off of this move. It's called a crossbody lead turn. You already know the crossbody lead, but the crossbody lead turn, what we end up doing is giving her a turn right after she steps on her 5. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Now, there's a million ways to do this. Literally, there's a bunch of variations, never ending. We break that down in Salsa 2. So hopefully we'll see you back here for Salsa 2.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed Basic Salsa 1.
If you're interested in Salsa 2 or any of our other classes, make sure you check us out and find us. There's information at the end of this video or below in the description, or contact us at info@mayihavethisdance.com.
Bye and see you next time.